This is Kyle Juszczyk, and you're listening to Nothing But Niners.
This is Charles Haley. You're listening to Nothing But Niners.
So now they've got to start from deep in their end of the field, and Garrison Hurst takes advantage of it. He takes the handoff, hits to his right, gets to the 20. He's at the 30. Needs to cut in. He comes back up the right sideline. Breaks the third tackle. Comes down to the 30. He's down to the 20. He's down to the 10. He's down to the 5. He's into the end zone. Touchdown! Touchdown! 49ers! 96-yard run from scrimmage. Garrison Hurst breaking tackle after tackle. Sweeps down the sideline. Throws off bodies like clothes after a marathon.
Young, back to throw. In trouble, he's going to be sacked. No, gets away. He runs, gets away again, goes to the 40, gets away again, to the 35, cuts back at the 30, to the 20, the 50, the 10. He died. Touchdown, 49ers.
Third down, Alex takes the snap. Alex looking down in post, and it's good! Touchdown! Touchdown, 49ers!
It is second down. Ryan takes the snap, throws the slant to the left side. It's Russell intercepted. The 49ers pick it, and Navarro Bowman is redemption. Navarro Bowman running it all the way for the touchdown. No greater redemption.
The San Francisco 49ers. We can do whatever we want.
Click, click, boom. What's going on, faithfuls? It's your boys Mike and Eric. We are back to bring you guys another fun-filled episode over here at the Nothing But Niners show, man. Guys, we got a special show for you guys. I'm going to come on here. I'm going to challenge Eric. I'm going to make him put his foot in the ground, make some tough decisions. But before we do any of that stuff, I got to run through these formalities really quick. We're going to be brief here. I promise you guys. All right. If this is your first time here on the YouTube page and you enjoy the show, please do us a favor and subscribe. Hit the like button and turn on your notifications so you know exactly where we're going live. Give us a follow on some of our social media platforms. We have Snapchat, Twitter, and Instagram. Those handles are Nothing But 9 ERS. That is the number 9, Nothing But 9 ERS. We have Facebook and Twitch as well. Those handles are Nothing But Niners, spelled all the way out, no number in there, okay? So NINERS. And then we have the Patreon, guys, where I've been bringing you guys the real all off season, the behind the scenes stuff and all the inner workings of the Nothing But Niners channel, man. Patreon.com/NB9 ERS. Eric, I'm going to open up the floor to you, man. Go ahead and let people know where to find you. We are streaming. We are doing this all at the same time, a little simulcast here. So let people know what channel you're on and let them know where to find you, just in case they're not subscribed over there already.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. This is my first time doing the kind of simulcast type thing. So, streaming on your platform, streaming on mine. You guys can find me on YouTube. Just type in Eric Crocker, I think, and it should pop up. Also, follow me on Twitter at Eric_Crocker. And listen to Locked On 49ers with myself, Brian Peacock. Come at you 5 days a week. Let's go.
Yeah. There you go. So I could tell who is in here from your chat versus who's in here from ours. I see some guys in here. Chris Carr is in there. Brian J. Rothesis is in there. Those are all guys from your chat I see in there. And then shout out to the regulars over here at Nothing But Niners, man. Aaron, Spaz, Callie, Miss Debbie is in the building. I see y'all over there. All right. DeMarcus, great one. I see all of y'all, man. Let's go, man. We got a fun-filled show for you guys today, man. I want to start light. I don't want to come in here and be rude. I don't want to be belligerent or anything like that. So let me calm down a little bit. We always like to start our shows with the latest 49ers rumors and updates. But before we do, I always ask people, how are you doing? Eric Crocker, man, one of the things that I appreciated when you first started your channel was that you would come in here and say, guys, put the flames in there. You had a scale of 1 to 5, to let people know how you're doing. And you said anything less than a 5, we got to talk, man. So I appreciate that about you, man. How are you doing, though, man? If you had to rate yourself right now, what would you be right now?
Oh, man, I'm on 10, man. I'm always good. It's hard to find a time where I'm not good. I'm extremely blessed. I have a lot of really good things, going on. And, I come from humble beginnings. So, all those things with, for a living, I talk about the 49ers and train athletes. I don't think it gets any better than that. One of my guys, man, he was out here with me for a week training, and he signed with the Baltimore Ravens after the draft. So that was exciting as well.
I see you talking about a lot of players, putting a lot of guys on, some local talent and everything, man, giving some love. Just yesterday I was out in Trenton. You guys know that's where we drafted. We traded up 12 spots to get Jair Brown. I was out there at Trenton. They kind of gave him a little special day out there, at the local high school. He is the highest drafted player from Trenton High School. And I thought that was pretty cool. Not the highest drafted player from Trenton, but the highest drafted player from Trenton High. All right. So
the
I
highest
thought that was
drafted player from Trenton.
Vincent, Troy Vincent.
Okay.
Troy Vincent. Now he lived and was from Trenton, but his mom moved him across the bridge to go to school out here where I live. So he went to the Pennsbury School District in high school and everything. That's where he graduated from. But they were from Trenton. So she did a little commute across the bridge, you know, to get him into the better school district. You know what I'm saying? But Jair Brown, man, the highest drafted player in the NFL in history for Trenton, New Jersey. So I thought that was pretty dope. You know, we got a couple of things to get into, man. I'm glad that you're doing well, E. I appreciate and see all the work that you're doing over there. Y'all are rocking, man. You doing your thing, and again, I just appreciate it. So keep it up, man. Keep up the good work. It's always good to see brothers out there grinding and seeing it pay off, man. You know, let's talk about the latest with the 49ers news and rumors, man. The 49ers went out and they signed a couple of guys. I don't know if you guys have talked about this or not yet. But they went out and they signed 3 different players. First, I want to talk about the tight end, Troy Fumagalli. Eric, why is this guy back with the 49ers? Now, this is not slack. I'm not throwing a shot at him. If you had to try to come up with a reason why, because this is someone that they brought back in, they had previously, and they have to make room on the roster to bring him in. This isn't like one of the guys where, we were down to 87. We got to bring them in. All 3 of these guys, the Niners had to make room on the roster. So what was your look at this? I saw you tweet something about this as well, the business of the NFL. So I want to get your thoughts on it.
You know, my thoughts just went straight to the guys that have to get released. And, you know, I know what that feels like. You know, being there, you're a bottom of the roster guy. And sometimes they just make moves and it's just not in your favor. You know, when I got released by the New York Jets, you would think it's like, oh, you just can't play football. You're not good. It's like, nah, man. Like Chris Ivory had a sprained ankle. Brian Winters had a high ankle sprain. And McKnight from USC, Joe McKnight, RIP Joe McKnight, had a concussion. So it's like, hey, we just got to make room for somebody else. So you just get released, you know, and that's the business side of football. But seeing something like that happen so fast and into the off season, there are a couple guys that just may never have an opportunity to play football at this level again. And that's tough, man. It's a harsh reality with it, but it's just cutthroat. It's just the way it is. So that was where my mind went first. I kind of felt bad for the guys that are getting released for Fumagalli and the other guys that the 49ers brought in.
Yeah, you know, like the guys at the bottom thinking, man, I got my chance. I'm going to get into camp.
Yeah.
I'm showing what's up. I'm showing what I got. Like, even if I don't make it here, like somebody going to see me in preseason. And then it's like, hey, man, you got to go home, bro.
You got to go home. Man, I had buddies. I remember we reported for training camp, right? We were out there for like maybe a week before we were actually leaving for training camp. And then we're getting on the bus. And one of my guys, I remember thinking like, oh, bro, like, it's time to go. We're heading over to Cortland University. He was like, man, they just let me go. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And it just happens. It just happens. They bring in guys to try out or work out every Tuesday. There's new guys coming in. So you're always kind of looking over your shoulder like, it's going to be my day. You know, you just never know what they're thinking. But it's tough, man. The NFL is cutthroat. Real quick, I'll say this, then this will be the end of it. But the guy Destroyer, he's a big streamer. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him, but he does all the one-on-ones and all that type of stuff. He was a kicker though at UCF, and he got phased because back then, they didn't have. And I say back then, a few years ago, they didn't have the whole NIL stuff going on. So you couldn't really be making money off of YouTube and getting sponsors and deals and things like that at that time. And he had to make a decision. Do I want to chase a dream potentially playing in the NFL or, and go through college and be a kicker, or pursue this streaming stuff because it's starting to take off? So he chose streaming. And now he gets asked like, hey man, do you wish you would have tried for the NFL? And he's like, man, as much money as I make now, it kind of would have been a pay cut. And there were a lot of people like, oh, he's just after the money. Like, what about the love of the sport and playing football? And it's like, the sport don't love you. You know, the
Right.
moment they can get rid of you, they going do away with you. So I'm
Yeah.
like, man, he
Yeah.
made the right decision, but it's a cutthroat business, and in the blink of an eye, you can be gone.
It happens, man. It's tough. It's bad, man. That's business, not just the NFL, man. The company I work for was recently acquired last Monday, and they talked about merging businesses and merging offices and all that stuff. We were bought out by the second biggest respiratory supplier in the country, and they have like 600 offices. They're going to start merging, and I know what I do and how much I make. They looking to get rid of me. I know it. Like, it's just one of those things. You know what I'm saying? Like, It's like, damn, man. All right, what do I do? Do I sit here and try to prove my worth, or am I just gonna get that call one day, like one of these guys? Like you said, walk into the bus and they go, "Hey, Mike, can you step in the office real quick?" Like, oh shit,
and bring your vehicle keys.
yeah. That's the other thing, right? I got to turn in the company car and phone, and oh man, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad. But it is what it is, man. In addition to Troy Fumagalli, the tight end coming in here, they signed defensive lineman Marlon Davidson. Now, I don't know much about him, but wasn't this guy like a second-round pick or something like that?
Yeah, I don't know anything about him either.
No. Let me see if there's a write-up on him on here anyway. Davidson, it says 6'3", 303, was originally drafted. Yeah. Okay, originally drafted in the second round, 47th overall of the 2020 draft by the Atlanta Falcons. How does a guy drafted that high, if not for injury, just be a free agent and coming in to compete? Like, is that
not
all
truly understand what it means to compete at the NFL level? There are a lot of guys, right? And take him for instance, and I don't know his situation, so I'm just kind of throwing out a scenario there. But a lot of those guys have never had a job before. They've never worked a day in their life outside of just being really good, being bigger than everybody. Knowing you're going to go D1, knowing you're going to go to the NFL, like that. That's just like, hey, this is just what it is. And you get there, and there's a lot of guys that kind of just take it for granted. And I saw it with D. Milliner. We were there at the same time. I remember when D got drafted, and 2.5 years later, a guy that was picked number 9 overall ends up just never playing football again. Like, I've never heard of D since then, right? Like, where is he? What's he doing? But it's like, hey, he took his $12 million guaranteed and got out of there. So there are certain guys that you get drafted high, and maybe you stop kind of putting in the work and doing a lot of things that kind of got you there, or you got there based off of just, hey, I'm kind of bigger and faster than everybody. Then you get to the NFL, the playing field's a little bit more even from a trait standpoint, and now it's like, hey, I got to really put in the work. And there are some guys that don't truly understand that aspect of it, or don't love the game enough to put in that type of work, and they end up like Dickerson here, being a second-round pick that just got cut after playing 2 years in the league. And, hey, what is he going to do now? Dante Pettis. He's another kind of case of that as well.
Yeah. Dante Pettis went to the Giants, had a little bit of something going after the Niners. I don't know whatever happened to D. Milner, like you said. Like, I don't remember him going to another team. Not that I was necessarily looking for him, but that's kind of odd, like to go that high, 9 overall. And there's nothing. Even you look at Solomon Thomas, right? And I know how disappointed I was with the draft and with the output and all that stuff. He even got another shot with Oakland. Like I remember him going to the Oakland Raiders at the time. I don't know if he's still in the league or not, but like, it's just, man, like these guys got to come in and they got to work, man. I hope people don't take this position for granted. I hope they come in here and really, really work. And the last player that they brought in, everyone thought that the Niners were going to go out and sign a veteran quarterback, and we thought that maybe that would have stopped after the acquisition of Sam Darnold, but no, it did not. They went out and signed quarterback Brandon Allen. All right, and this guy was drafted by the Jaguars in the 6th round in 2016. All right, so he's been in the league for a while. He's 30 years old. Where is Fayetteville, Arizona? Not Arizona. Listen to me, Arkansas.
Fayetteville, Arkansas. That's northwest Arkansas, kind of on the border of Missouri.
Is that close to you at all?
No, I'm southeast, so it's kind of like two halves. You kind of have like more of a Midwest version of Arkansas, and then you got kind of like the dirty South. And I'm literally 30 minutes from Mississippi and Louisiana, so like I'm in like the dirty South. Fayetteville is near like Oklahoma, kind of those Missouri. It's more up that way.
Oh, okay. Oh, they said Solomon Thomas still with the Jets. I didn't even know that. I didn't know that Solomon Thomas was with the Jets. I don't care. He trash. It's whatever. All right, I'm just playing. I don't want to sell your channel here. I got to remember that we on both streams.
No, you good. You good. You good.
I'm kidding. We love everybody. I don't want nobody jumping in the chat saying, "Bring me on, send me the link." So let me just chill. So they go out and get Allen, and they have a couple of guys coming in for workouts and things like that they're going to get through the camps and things like that with. Are you expecting anything from the three names that were recently acquired? Brandon Allen, again, Marlon Davidson, and Troy Fumagalli.
I think with the defensive tackle, the 49ers, I feel like could always use size in the middle. Pause. But they can always use kind of a bigger guy, maybe a two gapper, or a guy that can really kind of plug those run lanes up. I just keep having this flashback of Javon Kinlaw in my head, just getting pushed out of there against the Philadelphia Eagles, like just pushed, 10 yards down the line. I'm just like, man, can you get somebody that come in there and just be really stout at the defensive tackle position? So, if anything, can Dickerson come in and just be that? You don't have to be this great pass rusher, but can you specialize in just kind of plugging stuff up so the linebackers at the second level can come in clean and kind of do their thing?
Okay. Yeah, I would think that if any of those three guys had a chance to make some noise and really, really be seen by the team, it's going to be that defensive lineman. John Lynch just has a thing for defensive linemen. For whatever reason, they think Chris Kosera can, turn nothing into something. Which has always bugged me. One, the perception of what Chris Kosera can do with these defensive linemen. But two, if it's true, why are they always digging at the bottom of the barrel instead of giving him some mid-tier stuff to work with? You know what I mean? Like, why do they always wait and like get like the guys that like are just the outcast and then say, hey, Chris, this is what you got to work with. Do something with him. Like, why don't they get him better talent?
Well, they have tried, right? When you draft Javon Kinlaw, that's me trying to get that's a big swing. You traded for D Ford, and you had to give up a second round pick and pay him. And obviously D Ford worked for that 1 year, but then after that, he had a lot of injury issues and it just didn't quite work out after that. So I feel like they continue to try to like swing for certain guys, but right now with where the 49ers are, it's just a little bit more difficult unless you go off of a name. And the names, I don't know how they fit. We're like a Jadeveon Clowney or Ngakoue, right? Like, how do they fit with what the 49ers do? I don't know. Maybe they fit great. The 49ers just like, nah, we want to get the bottom of the barrel type guys. But I would like for them to take a swing on maybe a guy with a name like that. Now, the last time they kind of did that with Darnell Dockett, and I don't even know if that was that wasn't. I don't think that was Kyle Shanahan's guys, but I just remember thinking like, oh man, we got Darnell Dockett, and it's like, no, we're gonna cut him. So,
did you ever see the exchange I had with him on Twitter?
Nah, I don't think so.
He was not happy with what I had to say about him, man. I don't know how he saw it, but I watched him in one preseason game, and I was like, yeah, Dockett not gonna make this roster playing like that. It was one preseason game. And he was like, I love when people who never played in the NFL want to come in and tell people they're not going to make a roster. And bro, like a week later, he was gone.
He was gone right away.
It wasn't that like I was hating on him or nothing like that. Like my man was just getting blown off the line. Like that's not what they brought you in for. Like it's not, you're a vet and all that stuff. And I absolutely had nothing but respect. So I didn't mean like as a personal attack, but I was just, I said something really soft in my opinion. It was, playing like that is not going to let him make this roster. He's not going to get on here just by his name. Like there's too many guys that want that position. He got to play better than that. And I believe he was here coming off of an injury also. If I'm not mistaken, I think he was injured like the previous season or something like that. And he just looked flat. And I was like, yeah, this ain't gonna be the place.
I think he had an ACL injury the year prior.
Right. So I mean, I was right, but I didn't want to be right like that. Like I wasn't trying to upset nobody. I thought that maybe that you mentioned him on purpose because that's funny though. But it is what it is. But I want to talk about Ian Rappaport, man. I really, really do. Have y'all discussed him yet on Locked On? I listened to this morning show, but I know y'all recorded that yesterday.
Right.
How much depth did y'all go into about him walking back his statements?
Yeah, I mean, we touched on it, and hey, man, that's Locked On 49ers. Hey, they know where they can listen to that. But these listeners, maybe they don't listen or subscribe to Locked On 49ers. So I'll kind of repeat some of the things that we were saying. I think one of my main takeaways.
Wait. Don't say it yet. Don't say it. I'm going to play the clip. I'm going to play the clip, and then we'll respond. But for people who don't know, as soon as Sam Darnold was signed, Rappaport started saying oh, it's going to be Sam Darnold until Brock Purdy is ready. And I remember this clip going around on Twitter and on Facebook, and I'm like, yo, did he forget that Trey Lance was here? Did he he didn't mention Lance at all. Oh, the Niners got their placeholder until their starter is ready. And I'm sitting here the starter's ready. I've been on the whole Trey Lance is going to be the guy, regardless of what Brock Purdy did. Now we'll discuss that in a little bit, but I that's been my personal take. I don't think winning the Super Bowl.
I think you might be alone on that, but
that's okay. And you know me, I don't care, right? But I don't think winning the Super Bowl would have been enough for Brock Purdy to come in here and be like, oh yeah, this is my team. I don't think that's the case at all. So I want to play the walk back by Ian Rappaport, but before I do, I see you look surprised here. Unless he had an MVP performance, I'm not talking about numbers. I'm talking the defense was struggling. You went in there and went toe to toe, and you had to make some tight window throws and all. I have not seen Brock Purdy look more than a product of the system. I'm sorry. I haven't. There's been a throw here or there, but I see largely what I saw with Jimmy Garoppolo while he was playing, just a product of a really, really, really good team. I don't think that's enough to unseat a guy that they traded up for and picked third overall, and then they coached up for a solid season. Hey, sit down and just learn. We don't want you to play this year, right? We were all thinking, oh, you trade up for this guy. He's got to come in here. He's got to start right away. The Niners' philosophy was very different. This guy's coming from North Dakota. He's not ready to play in the NFL. This guy has played one season and one game at North Dakota against lower competition. He's not ready for the NFL. We got to coach him up. We want him to come in here. We want him to learn the system. And they followed their formula. You're not coming in here as Mr. Irrelevant and just taking his spot from him. I just didn't see that happening. Go ahead. Go ahead. I see your thoughts. Oh man, it's coming out. Go ahead.
Well, okay. You are correct in the sense of the way you're thinking about it. I see the same thing that you're seeing as it pertains to Brock Purdy and what he is as a quarterback. But the 49ers, whether it's the coaching staff or the players, they don't care about any of that. All they want to do is win. And they got a quarterback that's functional in the offense, whether it's because of him or is it because he's a product of the system. Regardless of any of that, they know, hey, with this guy at quarterback, there's way less unknown than there is with Trey Lance. And one of the known is we can win with him. In a game that he finished, we didn't lose a game at all. And I think that they're behind that. I mean, you can hear it in the coaching staff's voice. You can hear it in John Lynch's voice. You can hear it in, George Kittle and some of these guys in the way they talk about him. And I get what you're saying. I am completely on board with, he is more of a product of the offense as opposed to somebody who can really go above and beyond, right? Which is the throws that he attempts and things like that. I get what you're saying, but I don't think they care about any of that. I think all they care about is we win games with this guy and we're rocking with him. We're riding with him. And there's Trey Lance, maybe he'll be good. It just might have to be somewhere else. That's what it feels like to me.
Okay. So I respect what you're saying. You know that already. Anything I say, don't take it as a shot at you or a personal attack, but I completely disagree. And I'm going to tell you why. The Niners had a quarterback on the roster they could win with. I think they want to win because of, not just with. They could win with Jimmy Garoppolo, and they wanted to move on from him. I don't subscribe to they wanted to get rid of Jimmy because he was always injured. I think that they think injuries are a fluke that happen more often to some players. I get all that, but that's not why they wanted to get rid of Jimmy. I think the Niners are well aware of where they are, right? Debo didn't get this 5-6 year extension. It was 3. Brandon Ayuk, rookie deal, first round, right? George Kittle, we signed this extension, but he's up there in age. People don't pay attention to how old George Kittle is, right? This even your left tackle and Trent Williams, right? These guys are on borrowed time. Some of them. They're still playing really, really well. Don't get me wrong. But they're like, Trent Williams don't have another 4 years in the system. I'm sorry.
Right.
If he does, he would surprise me, right? 2 tops, like 2 tops, right? That's the way I feel about it. When he came out this offseason was saying, yeah, the thoughts of not playing did cross my mind. That's dangerous already. I'll never forget the Brett Favre interview. As soon as you start thinking about retiring for real, it's different. Like, it affects your body, everything, your recovery and all that. So listening to Trent say that, it kind of threw up a red flag for me. The Niners had a player that they could win with. They made it to the NFC Championship with. They made it to the Super Bowl with. I think they want to get a guy that says, hey, when the talent starts to drop, when the system starts to get figured out and Kyle has to adjust some more, we want a guy here that can put the team on his back if necessary. And I think that's why they go and get a guy like Trey Lance. Now, the flip side to that is everyone's going to say we haven't seen Trey do that, Mike. And that's cool. I completely agree with y'all. But we haven't seen Trey not do that either. We just haven't seen Trey. I think that's where I am. And I think I just want to see what he is with this team and go out there and make some decisions, see how good he is. Everything that we hear about Trey Lance has never been physical, right? All the positive stuff that comes out about Trey Lance from the team is his study habits, his work ethic, things like that, right? How much of a team guy he is and a leader and all that stuff. It's never been about, wow, he's got this phenomenal arm. Oh my God, he's so fast. Oh, he can run guys over. It's never been that ever since he's been here. Now, us fans might have thought that, but the team has never said that. And the team got behind him just as quick as they got behind Brock Purdy, just as quick as they got behind Jimmy Garoppolo. You're never going to hear the players say, well, I really want this guy over that guy. They're not going to say that. The team knows better. They're too well trained, media trained, to say anything like that. If it's Brock Purdy, Nick Mullins, CJ Beathard, Jimmy Garoppolo, yeah, we can win games with him. In fact, hold on. Do I still have this video in here? Right here.
So you think it will be a quarterback competition? Purdy comes back
for sure.
healthy?
It's going to be one. Kyle just don't hand nobody the job.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very good. I appreciate you coming here.
Right? That's him talking about the competition. You're not just going to get it. But then Eisen asked him a very specific question.
So if this winds up to be Trey's team again, you think you can win the championship next year? With
Yes, sir.
That's it. They're gonna get behind whoever's under center. They don't hide that part of what they feel. And I think the fans want to be like definitive. Like, we just want to know who the quarterback is going to be going into the season. I think this is the first time in back-to-back years that we know who the starter is going to be, and it's the same guy from last year to this year. This is Trey Lance's team, bro. By the way, happy birthday, Trey Lance. Yeah. Happy birthday to Trey Lance, right? Like, this is his team. I don't care what nobody says. This is his team.
I as much as you would, I would like to see that as well, because I just want to see, like, what does it look like if he starts more than 2 games in a row? What steps does he take? What does it start to look like? Do we get more of, what it looked like against the Houston Texans, and he kind of continues to build off of that? Like, that's a terrific quarterback. I would love to see that too. But here's one issue. Are you familiar with James Wiseman?
No.
James Wiseman was drafted at the top of the NBA draft by the Golden State Warriors that, about to lose to the Lakers. All right, but James Wiseman.
Wait, what was that? Was that?
I had to throw that one dig in there. But James Wiseman. Oh, is that your gunshots?
Shots fired. Okay.
All right, so James Wiseman was drafted by the Golden State Warriors. And listen to this tweet. I saw this tweet earlier today. And I was like, it sounds like the issue with Trey. All right, so here we go. My guy Rashad Phillips on Twitter says, the drafting of James Wiseman set Golden State Warriors back 3 to 4 years. His development was too slow for what Golden State Warriors were banking on, so they were forced to bail on the kid. They're an interior, blah, blah, blah. He starts talking about just kind of his skill set. Then he says, Wiseman will be a terrific player, but his timeline wasn't aligned with the Golden State's deadline. And I feel like that's Trey Lance, where he might be terrific. And I see a lot of ability it's for sure there. You know, you would like to see more consistency, but maybe what it takes for Trey to become that more consistent quarterback, it just doesn't quite align with the timeline of where the 49ers are right now, which essentially year in and year out, they are a team where it's like Super Bowl, right? And what they know right now with Brock Purdy is like, hey, we were maybe a blown out elbow away from being in the Super Bowl. And I think they just, we're willing to rock with that over trying to figure out the unknown with Trey Lance. That's what it feels like to me.
Okay. And see, I hear you.
That's not what I would do. Okay. And what I would do,
I mean,
we'd have to go all the way back to the beginning on what Eric Crocker would have done in this situation. Now, what I would do is I would, and this is me, like if I'm in Trey's corner, like, bro, trade Trey Lance. Give him an opportunity, because what he needs, he's not going to get here. He needs to just go play. And I'm starting to think, somebody asked me about, well, why was Brock Purdy more ready, et cetera? And I'm like, well, Brock Purdy has a lot more experiences. This is a guy that started 3.5 years at Iowa State. Everything that you go through, like being just a quarterback, right? He got to learn and play through all of those things, the ups, the downs, the losses, throwing the interception. How do you respond? Becoming a leader year in and year out, right? Like all these different things, dealing with all kind of adversity. Trey just never had to really deal with it. He had to deal with, okay, I got to beat this transfer out from Iowa State that Brock Purdy actually beat out. And then he came to North Dakota State. Trey Lance beat him out. And then we get rolling, and he just doesn't lose a game. And he wins the title, and then doesn't throw an interception the entire season. And the next thing you know, you got COVID, and then you're in the NFL. And I feel like there's just so much like that he skipped over as it pertains to like becoming a quarterback. And he needed that first year. And again, everybody's situations are different, but what he needed was year one, can I come in and just play and just deal with my lumps and just learn how to go with a lot of the ups and downs. And he just was not afforded that, because Kyle couldn't afford that. Kyle was coming off of one winning season in 4 years. It's like, bro, I can't risk another down year, when ideally that would be the best thing for Trey Lance.
But all right, so what you just said at the end there, he needed to come in and play right away and just go with the lumps. And the what was his name? Wiseman, the person you were talking about, right? Are opposite statements, because the key part of what you said about Golden State drafting him was he didn't develop quick enough. As far as we know, and everything the team has said, Trey Lance has developed. The injury was the only setback. I don't think the team wanted him to come in and play and take his lumps on the field.
I think there was
they wanted him shell shot.
I gotta disagree. I think that they're like just watching him, right? And I could see all the things where I could point out, man, he did this well. Like, I haven't seen a lot of quarterbacks making this type of throw, and he could do all these things. Oh, he could take off 4 first down, but it still felt a little clunky. And I think that was part of him just still figuring it out like that. And again, we're talking about a guy who hasn't started back-to-back games in the NFL. Or he started back-to-back games. He hasn't finished back-to-back games.
Finished back-to-back games.
So, I mean, this is not like, I'm not like knocking him for not quite being there. Right. It's just like there was just a lot that he had. Now, he could have went through the first 8 games and you just start to see him hit a groove. And that would have been great. And I wish he would have got that opportunity, but he got hurt, But as far as just what goes into developing and kind of what he needs, and maybe the 49ers didn't know quite that. I saw somebody in the chat, well, why did they draft him? Maybe they didn't know that it was going to be quite the way it was. And you got to remember, too, he wasn't their number 1 choice. He wasn't their number 2 choice, right? Like they told you, hey, man, we called Matthew Stafford. Oh, man, like Rams beat us to it. Okay, we looked into Deshaun Watson. Oh, man, he's the booty tickler. Dang, can't go with him. And then, okay, we're going to, hey, Aaron Rodgers, is he available? Oh, he's not? Now you're mad at me? Okay, we'll draft Trey Lance. Right. Like, it wasn't the 1, 2, 3. It was like the 4th option. So, and I'm not saying that they don't like him. I'm just saying they clearly were trying to see, like, we want to win now. And these guys can help us. Do, okay, I got to go with this guy. Dang, I really don't want to wait. For it. So, okay, we got Jimmy. We could just play Jimmy. And it just kind of threw everything off.
Yeah. No, I agree with that part of what you're saying. I think I was just focusing on the development versus playing. I think a person can develop enough to make a team comfortable without being on the field if they see what they need to see in practices. And that I think that's where I was. I think when they were ready to move on from Jimmy, I think they felt he was developed enough and he was going to take the league by storm. John Lynch and Kyle both said that when they addressed the media a couple of weeks ago, that Trey Lance, like they said, Brock Purdy came in, he played well, really well and efficient, and we believe that Trey would have done the same exact thing. So, you know, that just their words, not mine, not Eric Crocker's. Like that's what they said. Those were the words that they echoed. Let's get to this. And by the way, Dickerson, Damon Dickerson put a super chat in here. You guys can keep the super chats coming. We'll get to them at the end of the show. We want to stay on pace here and continue to stick with the program here. So the walk back. So again, Ian Rappaport comes out as soon as the team signs Sam Darnold, and he is like hyping this guy up, like, oh, this is the guy until Purdy is healthy and ready to go. And he was just really like, the Niners are going to trade Trey Lance. It was day 3 of the draft, and there was a report coming out that morning saying the Niners could still trade Trey Lance. This is Rappaport, by the way. And the reason why would you say that? Why would the 49ers want to do that? Because you don't want a guy that you pick 3rd overall being your 3rd string quarterback. Like he was really coming down on Trey, like he was just on the roster just to be on the roster. Well, it turns out he wasn't quite right. This is what he had to say.
Years. Okay. The Sam Darnold thing is interesting. Like so I think it was on this show. Yeah. When I said something like that there was a very real chance that Darnold was going to be the starter week 1. Mm-hmm. I got a lot of pushback from people there who were like, why would you discount
in the building or like Niners fans?
In the building. Okay. Like, why would you discount Trey Lance? And I'm like, I get it. But like Trey Lance we have not seen whatever Trey Lance is going to be. We have not seen it.
Unless we have. That's kind of the biggest worry, right? Is that this is really just the worst trade in the history of sports.
I still don't think there's enough. He didn't play enough last year. Like it was in his first NFL game. It was in shitty weather, and then he broke his leg. Like,
yeah, but he hasn't played in 6 years. It's like,
where did he get 6 years from? Like, what the fuck?
Being funny, you can't. Certain guys, you kind of just have to block out their comments, and he was one of them.
God,
what's Adam Schefter doing there? Or Ian Rappaport? Like, what's he doing?
So, I don't know, but I want to get your thoughts.
That was a weird thing. Like, why is Ian Rappaport there?
Right
at Pat McAfee's facility stuff.
Well, I have a theory on it. If you want my real theory, I could tell you why I think he was there.
I saw ESPN trying to maybe get him. You think maybe NFL Network's trying to get him?
No. If I'm being completely honest, Pat McAfee kind of showed people like you could do this independently and be really successful. You don't have to be associated with a big network. You could do it your way and be successful. And then he's the one who got the story that Aaron Rodgers wanted to go there, hit the decision and all that stuff. Pat McAfee, not the big name, not Schefter, not Rappaport. You know what I mean? Like it was not Garofalo. It was him. Right. So I think now it's like, all right, just to show you guys I'm still connected. I'm with the connected people. I
see some people like, oh, well, Pat, I know he just had a kid. I'm just asking, why is Ian Rappaport, like, why is he there? Like, that's not NFL, that's not where, you typically see him on the big networks. It's like he's on someone's YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So, right. Yeah, anyways, not everybody watched, thousands. One time I saw it, and it was like 50,000 people. We get live viewers. It's like 200, 300 live viewers, 400 live viewers. That was like 50,000 live viewers. I'm like, damn, different world there.
Yeah, they doing it big over there for real. But what were your thoughts on this? He was very clear because they asked him. So you got pushback from Niner fans? He was like, no, people in the building. Like, what the hell are you doing? Your thoughts on the whole what he said leading up to it and the walk back there.
My initial thought was I was a little disappointed. Because when I think of Ian Rappaport, when I think of Adam Schefter, and when they say things, these guys are insiders. So I'm assuming you are being told this information from people. And then the way he just said it is like, no, it's just an opinion. Like I'm Mike Andrews or Eric Crocker. It's like, well, you're just like us now. Like you're supposed to be the insider to have all these things. And you're just throwing stuff in the air off of what your little ass thinks. I don't know if y'all seen Rappaport in real life. I've seen him in real life. Dude's like 5'2". So it's like, you're just going off of what you think like anybody else. And now it's kind of discredits him just a little. Now he works hard and maybe he does have inside sources, but that was one of the things when he said that and really kind of, I'm just giving my opinion. I was a little disappointed with that.
Yeah, especially because what he says is taken like, and articles are written about it. You know what I'm saying? Like that, and that's what the dangerous part was with what he was saying. Right now, all of a sudden, you have Trey Lance's agent calling the team saying, "Yo, y'all fed that information? Like y'all, that's really what y'all think about our guy? Like he's just," and the team was like, "No, that is not what happened. That we didn't say that shit to him. Hey, Ian, get out there and clear the air. Like let people know we didn't tell you that, because make it clear that this is your opinion, not something you heard, not something that what like you have to separate the two, opinion versus info, and rumblings that you heard. Like just make it very clear, please. The team wanted to get from behind that, and that lets me know further just how much they believe in Trey Lance. Otherwise, why would they care?
Why do so many people push back on a quarterback that hasn't played much, and for the most obvious reasons?
Wait, say that. What can you?
Why is there so much just from national media? And I feel like it's always been like this surrounding Trey Lance, but there's just so much of nah. And it's like, dude, y'all watch these other guys play for years and give them chance after chance. Last year, I mean, we saw Zach Wilson play like crap for most of a year. And because he didn't throw an interception over his last 6 games, even though he was throwing for 100 yards and 50-something yards a game, it's like, breakout player. He's going to be the breakout player of the year, right? It's like, no, he's just not good. But like, at least you got a chance to kind of like see him play. But for the guy that hasn't played a lot, and you see the reason why. 1, he had the COVID year. 2, you got Jimmy Garoppolo and his eye kind of got win right now. Then he breaks his ankle. And then it's like, he just can't play. Like, he's just not good. Why is that and it's not just Rappaport's idea of, we don't know what he is and stuff, but throwing it out there. But the Mike Silvers and it's like all the guys, like that's their thoughts on it. And I just think it's kind of weird the way they have gone about this whole thing with Trey Lance, as opposed to just saying, hey man, like, we don't know, but they do know what they have with Brock Purdy. Like, that's understandable. That's not the way that they talk about Trey Lance.
Yeah. So they always make it seem like Trey can't play, but they never say what he doesn't do well. So I get what you're saying. It's always like, well, they want more from the position, or the team is ready to move on because
Sam Darnold's going to beat him out.
Right. It's never been about what one guy does well and the other guy doesn't do well, because that would require homework. That would require research. That would require watching film and breaking things down and how you think a player will fit in the system. And you can break down all you want. You can actually do a full breakdown on Sam Darnold and how you think it's going to work. They said you're echoing, so I'll go on mute when it's time for you to speak. That's probably my fault, guys.
Why would that happen? I do hear myself in your background. Do you got it somewhere, or?
Yeah, it might be my microphone picking up what you're saying. Let me check my settings real quick.
Do you have headphones on?
No, I don't do headphones. Hold on. Y'all gonna hear a click real quick. Just give me a second. I apologize. Hold on.
That's headphones. Tripping.
All right, that should fix it. And I also got to turn down my microphone sensitivity. I had it turned all the way up. All right, so that should help right there. Yeah, that should help.
All right, hello. I think we're good now.
Okay, yeah, I had to change some settings up. Never mind. It's not cool. I was doing a different show, and I used the background noise on purpose, so I forgot to turn it off. But yeah, it will require some research. And here's the truth, right? You can do a full breakdown of what you think Sam Darnold's going to do in the system with his skill set. You can't do that for Trey because you haven't seen enough. It's just that simple. So it's easier to say, yeah, they want to move on. And this guy, we've seen Sam Darnold make some really phenomenal throws. We've seen Sam Darnold break the pocket and run for some long scrambles in the NFL at the pro level. We saw him do some things at USC, blah, blah, right? It's easy to go out there and say those things, right? And then when you want to say those same things about Trey Lance, you always come back to, yeah, well, it was North Dakota State. Like, it wasn't the SEC. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
it was the Houston Texans. It wasn't
right. Yeah. And so that I think that's what it comes down to. And it's just easy to say he can't do it because they haven't seen him do it, as opposed to saying we don't know what he is, like you said. I really think that's where it comes from. It's easier. Plus, if we want to be honest about guys like Silver and even guys like Matt Burrows, right? Like, it's pay per click now. Like that's the world they live in. The negativity draws way more clicks and attention and retweets and interaction than the positivity does. And it's just where we are right now in social media and in society. And unfortunately, that's the way that people are gonna rock. You know, the positive stuff isn't gonna make the headlines. You know, that's just not the way it works. When the Niners win games, are you more inclined to read articles about why they won, or are you more inclined to read articles about why they lost? Who had the bad games? Who was to blame for it? If you had done X, Y, and Z different, we would have won. It's the negative stuff. It's the assessment. We won the game. We ready to move on to the next week. And so it just naturally makes sense that the negative stuff is going to drive people. So you just go ahead and say it, and you get the interaction that way, I think.
That makes sense. It's just a little I guess interesting that it's so strong one way. And then to hear a guy say, well, it's just kind of my opinion. That's why I'm like, oh, man, come on.
Well,
man.
and this is the other clip I want to play, right? They come out here and they say all these things about why Sam Darnold can be successful in the system, right? Like why Sam Darnold could be successful here. I want you to listen to what they say as to why Sam Darnold can be successful here, and tell me that if I didn't tell you that this was about Sam Darnold, what quarterback wouldn't this apply to? All right, you ready? I'm gonna play it now. Here we go.
It seems everyone looks good in Kyle Shanahan's offense.
I was just gonna say, yeah, it's the perfect situation for him now too with their running game. I mean, we reference it all the time.
He ran a little bit too last year.
Yeah, yeah.
Darnold started to run a little bit.
He can scoop, but in that offense, like they could run the ball 50 times a game, or not a game, but there will be games where he doesn't have to win anything. Like he's got to deliver a couple balls inside a window, but it's not as if it's not like they have a defense that isn't going to keep them in games. They're the best defense in football. So it's like, hey, can you with George Kittle, Ayuk, Debo, McCaffrey in the back, Elijah Mitchell. Christ. Like, can you just get us to the point where we're scoring three touchdowns, or we're scoring 21 points a game? Because if that's the case, we'll probably end up being the 1 or 2 seed in the NFC.
What did they say about Sam Darnold in there that didn't apply to
any other quarterback?
Right, that's what. Right, like how did that have? Like honestly, what's your thoughts on what they just said? Because I agree with what they were saying in general, but it could apply to anybody.
I mean, I think I agree with your assessment there. Like when you break it down that way, now it's kind of your whole thing where it's like, well, they don't say Trey Lance can't do this or can't do that. They don't say his strengths and weaknesses. It's just, he's not playing, or you don't know. So, but you do know that Sam Darnold has been bad, so maybe he can be good. I don't know.
Yeah, here's what I do know. All right. This is what I do know. The team has come out. I'm talking about Kyle. I'm talking about John. They have come out and said that if Brock Purdy was healthy, he would be the leader in the clubhouse. He is the leader in the clubhouse, right? The team has come out and said, Purdy would be competing with Trey Lance, or he might be QB1 if he was healthy and all that stuff. To me, this is where my opinion comes in. They're telling you guys that ain't the case, though. If everything you say ends with or starts with if he was healthy, then you forget everything that was said. It's like somebody giving you a compliment and then saying but. Everything they said before the word but, it don't matter. It don't matter. So if they say if if Brock Purdy was healthy, then we would do X, Y, and Z. It don't matter because he's not healthy. He's not healthy. This is Trey Lance's team. I think that's the best birthday gift that they can give to Trey Lance, and letting him know, hey, man, this is your team. So I'm doing it for the 49ers. I know they're not going to come out and do it because they want him to work hard. They want him to think that he's got to earn it, right? And he does. let me be very clear. Debo said it in that clip we played earlier in the show, right? Kyle's not just going to give it to anybody. You do have to go out there and earn it. But if he goes out there and does what they think, forget what I think. If he goes out there and does what they think he can do, there's no reason that this isn't Trey Lance's team.
I think that Kyle is probably over this whole like just the quarterback thing and the musical chairs, and it's like, can I just have a guy? Can I just start the season like this is a guy and this is my guy. And he was hoping he had that all last year with Trey Lance, and it just didn't happen. So now he's like, I think I got my guy in Brock Purdy. Oh, he's hurt. Broke his elbow.
Right.
I feel bad for him, to be honest. A guy that I do feel like is a really good coach and obviously, a really good play caller. I do think, I see certain videos and I talk to my guy, Greg Pinelli, and I do think that they could be a little bit more creative with the drop back passing game. Super kind of simplistic the way they go about it. But, overall, I do feel for, really just the fan base as well that, in May 9th, I feel like every year for the last 3 years now, we're having this conversation surrounding the quarterback position.
Yeah.
As opposed to just, oh man, Aaron Rodgers is our quarterback and we just know he's our guy. Or,
Right. We haven't been able to really focus on the rookies that come in, the undrafted free agents. Like it's always circling back to the damn quarterback position. That's going to take us to our next topic. We're going to wrap this thing up here soon, guys. We're approaching the 1 hour mark. I don't want to keep Eric for too much longer here. We're going to get to the super chats and all that stuff. But Eric, man, the draft is coming going. I don't think we've done a show since the draft together. Were there any? First of all, what were you expecting of the draft this year? Don't. I'm not talking about prospects or anything like that. Right. Knowing where the Niners were picking, were you expecting them to go out and get guys to be starters? And you could, the biggest holes, whatever. It's funny because I actually called you maybe 2 weeks before the draft and said, if the Niners traded up to the second round, what position would it be for? And it wasn't for a position that would be a position of big need necessarily. You know what I'm saying? So what were you expecting going into this draft to come out of it?
Well, I think based on that conversation we had, it's very clear that my expectations weren't very high in the sense of the prospects that that will be available to you late in the third round. And at the time we're talking about pick 99 overall. We're looking at comp picks, right? And I don't look at it as a place where you typically go and try to get needs because the guys that will be a need, I guess, that you get, like, they're not projected starters. Now, that's not to say that somebody can't be a starter, right? We saw Spencer Burford. He was drafted 4th round. He came in, and, he was starting right away at right guard. Now it got a little weird. He was rotating with Daniel Brunskill and all that. But I think in general, you typically aren't saying, oh, man, we're drafting this guy in the 4th round, and he's going to come in. He's going to start day one. Right. So based on that, and we'll see what some of these guys have, and I'll talk about some of the guys I think have a potential to be a starter, but my expectations weren't high or there wasn't much that they could do to really disappoint me because of where they just started drafting.
Right. Yeah. The positioning says, depth, competition, and future. Not.
But there's a lot of people like, oh, you got to go get a right tackle. I'm like, are you really going to find? I mean, no, and that's not to say that you can't. But am I going to say, oh, I got a 100% draft a right tackle? It would pick 99 in the 3rd round because I need him to come in and start. Like, no, those guys go in, top 10, in top 15.
Right. So I know you guys are doing episode by episode. Y'all break down a different guy. Who's been the most impressive player that you've watched of all the draft prospects so far? I know you guys are breaking them down one by one, but anybody stand out that you say, hey, he actually may be better than the position he was drafted in?
Oh, yeah. Do you want to take a guess on who?
Well, I heard your show, so I think I know who your guy is, but I mean, if you
actually haven't broken this guy down yet.
Oh, so then, damn. Y'all. Well, I like Winters personally.
So I like Winters. Man, I'm doing a lot of film study on Ronnie Bell, and on my YouTube channel, I've been breaking down like receivers and defensive backs. I got pretty in-depth analysis video with film and all that. You can see all that on Ronnie Bell, Darrell Luther, and feel like this. Oh, and Jair Brown, Tig Brown. All right, you guys can go and you can watch those, and it shows examples, and I kind of explain the positions and different things like that. Like what I'm looking at, except you get the whole kind of breakdown. But D Winters, I'm watching Brown, and I just keep seeing a flash. It's just I'm like, what the heck is that? Oh man, it's 13 again. Then you see another flash. And I'm like, what the hell? It's 13 again. Now I see a flash, pick 6 to the crib, and I'm just like, this dude D Winters. And I watched another couple games, and he maybe isn't like this stack linebacker, Navarro Bowman, Patrick Willis, just super block shedding guy. But for what the 49ers kind of have now, which more like guys that just penetrate, but like the guys that, you want to try to keep clean, and then what they can do based on their athleticism or what they can do in coverage, I love the Winters pick. And then when you just add the value to it on top of that, you got this guy with just freakish ability, runs in the 4.4s, really fast, plays with swagger, has a swagger. I mean, the field drip was clean, like, all the stuff I paid attention to. But I just liked everything about him. And maybe I'm not the greatest linebacker evaluator, so maybe that's why I don't understand why he lasted to the 6th round. But I think for the 49ers and what they look for in their linebackers, I feel like he exemplifies all of that. So I'm really excited to see him come in and potentially earn maybe that kind of that third off-ball linebacker spot. And, do they, spell guy here and there? Okay, D, Dre Greenlaw, we love you. Let this young guy get a couple snaps here, real quick. And they start kind of grooming him because there's a lot of ability there from an athletic standpoint. And he was easily my favorite pick.
Yeah, I will say that, from the little bit that I watched, he definitely popped, and I like that a lot. I liked him a lot. I want to ask you one more question real quick. I don't know if you've broken both of the tight ends down. Do you think that they should have drafted them in opposite order?
So Latu, and we actually talked about Latu. So those of you right now that are in the chat, listen to Locked On 49ers in the morning. Oh, no. Hold on. We recorded one a day early. So never mind. That one comes out Thursday morning. All right. But we did break down Latu, and he is, from an athletic traits standpoint, I feel like they drafted him too soon. And I'm really big on value. I mean, that's just the way my mind works. But, I'm probably not just going to draft a guy that's slower than Jordan Davis. If there's other guys on the board that I potentially can get. Now, I just said, hey, look, I'd like to draft him in the 5th round. And I think I'm getting a good tight end. He can block, but just the upside, like, is he going to be able to separate from defensive backs? I don't know. He's a smooth route runner. I think he's a savvy. I think he could work on the top of his routes more to truly understand how to free himself up, work with a guy like George Kittle. Like, George can definitely help that aspect of his game, but being a little bit more twitched up. But again, he's just not the fastest of guys. And when I say fast, I mean, he ran a 4.78 pro day. So, I mean, that's down there 4.85 or something like that. Right. So that right there is a little scary in the sense of him as a pass catcher, but I think he has a very good, well-rounded game. Smooth guy. He does know how to get open to a certain extent. I think he's a more than willing blocker, and if you put on the Tennessee game, you see him pancaking guys left and right. So I think he's a 49er type guy, but you asked me drafting the guys in flip-flop. I haven't watched
Willis.
Kid yet. But
Braden Willis.
Yeah, Willis. But I know with Latu, ideally I would have liked to get him more in the 5th, in that range. And if I missed him, then I wouldn't. Okay, whatever. Like, okay, let me go get Mallory from Miami.
Right. Okay. All right. I mean, after you watch him, I do want to hear from. It don't have to be on the show either. Like, I just want to get your opinion on it. I was looking at some film, and I guess it depends on what you're looking for. I think one guy's playmaking ability might be a little higher than one guy's overall play, if that makes any sense. Like, if you're just looking at playmaking ability, think maybe, Braden might edge out Cameron, but well-rounded game and overall game, it's kind of, do you want, I'm gonna get killed for saying this, and I'm not comparing these players at all, right? But do you want a Braden? Do you want a George Kittle, or do you want a Travis Kelce?
What do you want?
Me? I would take a George Kittle on this team because I think we're stacked at other.
Not on this team. You're building a Mike Andrews team.
But okay. Now, to answer that question, I have to know what I have at the other skill positions, the wide receivers and the running backs, right? So like that's why I said
you got a nice receiver, you got a nice running back.
Mm-hmm. Then give me the well-rounded player. Okay. And I think that's why you end up with a Latu going before a Willis.
All right.
Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
If my team is well balanced, I want everybody to be well balanced, right? But if I have a good route runner in a Brandon Ayuk, if I have like that dog, that physical guy that's going to take the short stuff and go crazy with it like a Debo, if I have the most dynamic back in the NFL and Christian McCaffrey, right? Like maybe I could settle for and I have George Kittle. I might actually like Willis more in that kind of system because he's going to catch other people off guard. You know what I mean? So it'll be interesting to see how things shake out, and I want to see after you do the breakdown of what you think there. Let's get to these super chats, and then if there's anything you want to discuss, we can do that. But let's get to these super chats here in order that they came in. Damon Dickerson, thank you for the super chat, the first one of the night here. He says more snaps this year: Winters, Oliver, or Beal. So he just went all over the defensive
Oliver, because I think he's coming in like as the starting nickel. So unless there's an injury to a linebacker, I think I would go Winters. I think Beal is going to be a little tougher because he they have a lot of depth at the edge rushing position. He's going to have to definitely work his way in. I could see him being a healthy scratch for, part of the season that maybe Beal is active. He's activated. And you see him in there, but I don't know if that's something that's going to be all the time. Whereas Winters and Oliver, I just expect them to always be active, and then Winters kind of get rolled in there, but Oliver be more of your starting nickel. That's what it feels like. Okay.
Yeah. I think I'm inclined to agree with that. I think they like what they got in Oliver more than even what the faithful know. I think they're looking for a little. I'm saying little. I think they're looking for a little more from him than what people actually think. So I like that also. I think that's a good one. The next super chat we have here is from Gammon Brown. He says, at Crock, hypothetical question: if the 49ers and Eagles play 10 games straight in a neutral location, what would be the 49ers win-loss record and why?
Gammon comes on my show every day, man. He could have asked this question on the show. But shout out to my guy Gammon and Damon too. Damon, the other guy, left super chat. Shout out to my guys. I would favor Philly in that because one, they have probably the most dominant offensive line in the league. Their defensive line was not maybe it was more dominant than the 49ers. I mean, 49ers have Nick Bosa, and he's amazing. He's the best player on the field. But as far as just across the board, they kind of have the edge there. Coaching, I think you kind of give the 49ers the edge there. So it'll be competitive, but I just feel like at the right positions, even, offensively for Philadelphia Eagles, it's like, who you taking? You taking A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert, or some people would tell you he's better than George Kittle. I'm not saying that, but I've seen people say that. Like, Goddard's nice. He's nice. And you got Jalen Hurts at quarterback. Are you taking that? Or Brock Purdy, you got Kittle, you got Debo, you got Ayuk, you got Christian McCaffrey. And I think, when you throw Christian McCaffrey in there, I think you kind of shake things up a little bit, maybe in favor of the 49ers, but I think having that dynamic quarterback with Jalen Hurts kind of just gives them the edge. So I feel like up front, they have the edge really on both sides of the ball. And then that quarterback, they have the edge, and they still have terrific weapons. I mean, I think they would just really be a difficult team for the 49ers to just beat time and time again. I think the 49ers can catch them flipping anytime because they have good players, good coaching, but they'd just be a hard team to beat on a neutral field, 10 straight games.
Right. Now, I'm not going to answer that question because that was directly to you, but I want to change up his question a little bit and ask you this way. One game to win it all, and you don't have to worry about injuries. Because you didn't hesitate when you gave the nod to the Niners for coaching. And I think that's when you really shine. You know what I mean? Like coaching it's a little bit different than just the talent on the
say
field.
that, but that's because I'm just more familiar with the 49ers coaching. So it feels like, and I always just feel like 49ers got better coaching than teams. But maybe Philly got better coaching. I don't know. The way they're going about things, I love what they've done with Jalen Hurts and how they've brought him along. And it was just like, yeah, he's going to be our guy. And when a lot of other people were super skeptical of him and, gave him a lot of confidence and it's like, hey, we're going to load you up on some weapons too and do some good things. And he was like an MVP candidate. So maybe they got good coaching as well. And maybe they have the edge. I just know the 49ers coaches better.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. We got two more, maybe three more to get to real quick, and then we'll get up out of here. Sean Turner says, thank you, Mike Andrews. You're welcome. I don't remember what part this was a reference to. Might have been me calling out Ian Rappaport. I don't remember. But you're absolutely welcome, man. That whatever I did, you're welcome. Deshaun Page, thanks, my guy. He says here, what's up, Niner gang? Sam Darnold has a new house because he's a little bit Sam Darnold has a new home because has a little bit of talent, is going to make this offense the same as last year. I wish it was Zach Wilson and Brock Purdy. I don't know what I'm reading here. Help me out here, Crock.
That's all you. I don't know.
Okay, thanks.
I think he's saying with the new location for Sam Darnold, he has talent. So with his type of talent, like there wouldn't be much drop off. But he wishes it was Zach Wilson instead of Sam Darnold. I think that's what he's saying.
He would rather have. I disagree with that. I disagree with that a lot. I think people really sleep on Sam Darnold's talent, and that's something that I wasn't going to get into this episode. And I want to be clear with my stance. I am Team Trey, but I like all three of the quarterbacks the Niners have here. I don't know anything about Allen, so I'm not talking about him. But I like Sam Darnold. I like what he could be in this system with this team, with this coaching staff. I like Trey Lance and what I think he could be. And I like Brock Purdy because I've seen what he is so far. Okay? So let me be very clear what I'm saying. But I never liked Zach Wilson. I remember listening to Steve Young ranting and raving about him. I don't know if it was because of the BYU thing.
Yeah.
But I was like, bro, I saw some throws here and there, right? I saw some athleticism here and there. But if you put together a highlight reel of anybody, you're going to find plays that you like.
He played a little so the things, and look, I got killed for asking these questions, and now people are coming back like, Crock, you're kind of right about this, right? And listen, this is not me pounding my chest or whatever. I was right about Zach Wilson. But I had questions, and I watched. So one day, cleaning my crib, and I got NFL Network on, and they had a game from the previous season. This was the offseason of that draft.
Okay.
And it was Drew Lock for the Denver Broncos against the Raiders or somebody, whoever it was. It was like late in the year. And I'm watching Drew Lock. I'm like, man, kind of reminds me of somebody. I'm watching him. I'm paying attention. I'm like, this looks like Zach Wilson. Just looked a lot like Zach Wilson. So I go and I ask Twitter, me, I'll go ask Twitter, hey, what? I don't watch Drew Lock as a prospect, but what's the difference between Drew Lock and Zach Wilson? And right away, it's just, decision making, accuracy. Zach Wilson's way better at those, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, but do you think maybe the level of competition had anything to do with it? Because prior to that last year at BYU, Zach Wilson's accuracy was kind of protrude. And when you look at Drew Lock, I mean, playing the SEC, he's on like the worst team in the SEC. So I could see how it could be it'll get a little weird as opposed to Zach Wilson. Now, last year, he played against North Alabama, Texas State. There were like a lot of just thrown together games. And then when you watch the games, there's a lot of just, okay, let me run around, just throw the ball up high, and then my 6'5" receiver is going to go catch the ball. right? Like it didn't feel like a whole lot of skill. You see the talent, but not a whole lot of skill. And I was just, just asking those questions, and then he gets to the league, and it is what it is. But it was just kind of interesting.
Okay. All right, just Sean, but thank you for the super chat, bro. I appreciate it. Yeah, no, I'm gonna go with Sam Darnold.
Oh, and then when I was there, listen, I don't want a quarterback who, when it gets ugly, right? It gets ugly in the game, and you have like 70 yards of offense, and they ask you straight up on television, in front of all the cameras, and they ask you, hey, do you think you guys gotta let the defense down a little bit? A defense that gave up 7 points, and it's like, nope, not at all. I'm out.
Yeah.
And I think the rest of the Jets were out on them too after that.
Yeah. You're never going to get that from any guy in this locker room. I think the one of the first things the Niners teach is accountability and leadership, and even if you don't mean what you're about to say, right? If you go out there was a game. I don't know if you remember this game. This was a while ago. It was Tony Romo with the Cowboys and Peyton Manning with the Broncos. And the final score was like 51-48 or something crazy. It was a dumb high scoring game, right?
Who?
It was Tony Romo with the Cowboys, and it was Peyton Manning with the Broncos.
Oh yeah. I remember that game. Romo threw an interception at the very end of the game. Yeah,
the very end of the game, right? And it's like people were blaming Romo. I'm like, bro, like he put up over 45 points. That's not on him.
He was going toe to toe. I mean, toe to toe. Yeah.
Yes, and so and the Broncos defense wasn't chump that year either. Like that's what if he went to the podium in that moment and said, yeah, I don't think I owe the defense anything else, people would still kill him for that. Even though I'm saying this years later, I agree with what he was saying, but you can't go to the podium and say that. Like, that's just something that you just can't do. And these guys have been well trained now. The fact that he said that, it's just, like you said, it just turned the whole organization and the fan base off of him. Like, it's like, all right, this kid thinks like he deserves something like that he hasn't earned yet. So,
right, they put up like 7 points and had like barely 100 yards.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was terrible. And that was total too, not just passing, like total yards. It was bad. It was bad. Terradome says CBS Sports ranked Brock Purdy 12th of 32 quarterbacks in the NFL. That's 4th in NFC behind Cousins and Prescott. I wonder who the other person was. He said 4th in the NFC. Would you rather have one or both of them
Jalen
or
Hurts, maybe?
Purdy? Oh, maybe Hurts. Okay, that probably makes sense. Would you rather have one of those two guys or Purdy if you had to choose between the three of them?
Purdy. I mean, I don't look at Cousins or Prescott and think that they're anything like special. So I think that kind of shows you right there where, and this is not a slight against Purdy. He's just young, and we'll see. But if you put him in the AFC, where would he rank? Where you got, big dogs. You know what I'm saying? So like put him in the AFC, then what does that look like? So I can agree with that ranking there, because even talking about Cousins and Prescott, it's like, they're cool, whatever.
Yeah.
But in the AFC, it's like Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Aaron Rodgers now, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow. I mean, the list just they just keep coming.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that like quarterback on top of quarterback on top of quarterback.
They got the second overall pick over there. Like they got some players over there now, man. They got some players over there. Hey, do you worry about a fall off from any quarterback in their second year in the system? So like I don't want to say Brock Purdy because I'm not specifically talking about him, but do you think Kyle's scheme and system kind of reduces that fall off? You see guys come in sometimes and they look really good year one, and then the next year it's like a step back because the league start to catch up to them. Right?
No, Kyle doesn't reduce it. We've seen this happen, right? With Jimmy Garoppolo. You come in, you win 5 straight games, and then the very next year, where it's like, oh, you got a whole offseason. And this was Jimmy having the offseason. It's like, hey, you got a whole offseason. Everything's catered around you. We're going to get it rolling. And then week one.
He struggled in week one. He got injured in week
3 interceptions and a pick 6, and you lose on the road to Minnesota. Week 2, you threw damn near a pick 6 to lose the game against Detroit Lions. but it got called back for holding, and you were kind of able to milk the clock. Then week 3, I mean, it was 35-0 before you could blink, and I'm not putting that all on Jimmy, but you weren't really helping at the time, right? Then he tears his ACL. So in the sense of just can there be, and I'm not saying this is going to happen with Brock, but can there be a step back for whatever reason? And, with Kyle coaching, clearly, like there can be some form of that. And maybe it doesn't look like that, but I mean, if I were to tell you, hey, heading into 2018, just so you know, Jimmy Garoppolo is going to throw 3 picks and a pick 6 against the Minnesota Vikings. You're going to lose on the road. You'd be like, nah, not Jimmy.
But then the flip side is when he came back, he was 8-0.
But then he came back and 8-0.
And they should have won that 9th game, but the kicker missed that field goal in overtime or whatever it was.
But you also remember that, he was not playing well.
That's true. That is true.
The defense was
the standards to wake up the offense a little bit
week
more.
1, Tampa Bay. What happened?
2 pick sixes, right?
Pick 6, but then he threw a pick 6 to Vernon Hargreaves. But then, Ahkello Witherspoon, Richard Sherman came through in the Klizach, had 2 pick 6s to kind of put the game away. You know what I'm saying? And then, but it was a little weird. And then, he played the Bengals, though, and he went off that game. And then the run game really took over against the Cleveland Browns. But there was a lot of like mid type play, and he was coming off of a torn ACL as well. So
right,
now,
that's true.
Jimmy did start to heat up, though. He did start to heat up.
Right, but what you're basically saying, even the game that they put up 51, it wasn't because of some phenomenal passing attack. The run game was crazy. I don't know if you remember, Tevin Coleman had like 3 touchdowns in that game or something like that. Tevin Coleman against the Panthers, when they put up 51.
4 rushing touchdowns.
4.
Debo had another rushing touchdown. I think we scored 51 points, and maybe Jimmy threw 1 touchdown. Maybe
right. The highest scoring game with Kyle
Shanahan. I think he threw a touchdown to Emmanuel Sanders. I think
the highest scoring game with Kyle Shanahan's career as a head coach with the 49ers, and his quarterback threw 1 touchdown. And this is why I say that the Niners have known for a while they can win with guys, and now I think they want to start winning because of guys. And that's why I think you'll see some shakeup this season under center at Trey Lance. Guys, I'm done.
I think I disagree with you on that. I think it's Purdy's job. That's what it feels like.
All right. We're going to see. Time will tell. Now, let me ask you this question. Do you think that the Niners start the season because Purdy's not ready with Trey Lance, and then they won't pull him once Purdy is ready? Or do you think that once Purdy is ready, no matter who's back there, they go out there and give the job to Purdy?
Well, the biggest hurdle that Trey Lance has is I don't know if there's anything he could do just in the offseason to outdo what they've seen Purdy do in the actual live games and even important games, right? Like playoff games and stuff. Cowboys game was a little weird, but
never mind. Okay.
Yeah. Don't do it. All right. But I don't know what he can do as just the result of just wins, right? I don't know if there's anything he could do in the offseason to outdo that. So, but if Trey has a chance, let's say, hypothetically speaking, which my guy Damien was on my show earlier today, and he's like, nah, Brock Purdy's going to be fine week 1. But let's say, hypothetically speaking, they're like, Brock, you're going to start off on the PUP list. And Trey has 4 weeks or whatever, right, to start the year.
Right.
I could see a scenario. He goes 3-1, and then it starts to get a little weird with what you like the decisions you have to make from there.
Yeah.
Or I could see that.
All right.
But if it's Brock Purdy is week 1 and Purdy's ready, I believe he's going to be under center week 1.
I hope he's ready by week 1 so we can put this to bed. I think.
But what I don't want, and again, I would love to see. I just feel like just Trey Lance offense, and he's cooking. It'll look really good. I think people will be really excited about that. But what I don't want is you're trying to go all in with Brock Purdy, and it's like, he threw a pick. Boo! Get Trey Lance in there, and that's a tough thing because I think you would deal with that regardless of who starts at quarterback.
Yeah, it's going to be that way either way. Yeah, I mean, and because of Sam Darnold's ability, you got guys like Matt Mayoko saying he's the best thrower of the ball the Niners have ever had. You're going to have people champion for him.
Remember, they were like, We want Carr. Remember,
Yeah.
they were benching. They wanted Alex Smith out of there.
Bro, Carr was one of them. I remember the Troy Smith chance, bro. Like it was bad. It got ugly out there, man. But I will say this though, man. My final thoughts. I'm going to ask you a question really quick, and then again you go into your final thoughts so we can get out of here. If there's a significant injury to a quarterback again this year, do people start to say maybe it's Kyle? Like, do you think that Kyle in the coaching staff or the what's it called, the training staff, starting to get some heat for quarterbacks not being able to stay upright with this 49ers team? And then you can answer that and then go into your final thoughts, and we'll get out of here.
I think people already kind of have that just thought, right? Like they asked it, and we saw the breakdown from JT O'Sullivan, and he's like, yeah, they are kind of freakish, but Kyle, you're not like just 100% in the clear. Like there are things that you can do different, even from the play design, to kind of really help your quarterbacks stay healthier. So there's or the players can, one of them, it was when Jimmy Garoppolo got hurt, it looked like Debo didn't know he was hot, and that was the issue there. So it's like, oh, I'm about to throw the hot. Oh, Debo's not running the hot. Now I got to try to bail, and then I scramble into breaking my ankle or foot or whatever. But at some point, it's like nobody else has this issue. Like I've never seen this, like, to the extent. So it feels like it's got to be flukish. I mean, it's just injuries happen in the NFL, but to this extent at the quarterback position, it's kind of wild, and I don't know what else to attribute it to if it just continues to happen. Maybe just bad luck. I don't know. Kyle broke a mirror, some years ago, and he got the 7 years of bad luck or something. But
he broke a mirror while walking under a ladder with a black cat crossing in front of him, bro.
Right.
This is crazy. I've never seen nothing like that before.
I haven't either.
Yeah. Final thoughts, man. You let people know again where to follow you at the end of the show, also like you did with the start of it and all, and anything else you want to leave people with.
Yeah, man. And y'all can follow me, especially if you want to see me troll Warrior fans, at Eric_Crocker on Twitter. I've been having a lot of fun with that. You're from Mike. You're from the East Coast. Why are you a 49er
fan? So I became a fan, like rebellious. My mom is a Cowboys fan and my dad is a Giants fan. And I was young. I don't remember which team. It was one of those two teams, one of those NFC East teams. It was a playoff game and the whole family was watching. And I was like, nobody's cheering for the red team. Like, y'all being mean. Somebody should be happy about the red team. And my mom made a comment like, oh, well, then you like them so much, you cheer for them. And then my stepbrother was also a Niners fan. So it all kind of just came together that way. You kind of look up to certain people, and also that's how I became.
Right. So that's how I became a Laker fan. And I get killed by Warrior fans because, like, oh, you're from Northern California, Bay Area. You should be like, first of all, I'm not from the Bay. I'm from Stockton, California.
So
all right. So there's a difference there. I'm from the Valley. All right. But it's like, dude, like, people become fans of teams in many different ways. You don't have to be from Northern California or from the Bay Area to, I got to be a fan of this team. Like, nah, man. Like, my uncle was a Laker fan. I asked him who his favorite team was. He was like, the Lakers. I'm like, okay, I'm a Laker fan too. That was how I became a fan.
Yep.
I didn't do anything else. All right. Mm-hmm. But anyways, shout out to the Lakers handling business. And I know Warrior fans, they're kind of shocked for whatever reason. I don't know. Lakers had the best record in the West since the trade deadline, number one defense.
Trade deadline, yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Bench is working for y'all. Like, the Lakers clicking right now, man. They are.
But anyways, follow me on Twitter at Eric_Crocker. I got my YouTube channel, so make sure y'all tune into that. Just type in Eric Crocker, it should pop up. And we go live, right now, off season, at least 2 times a week. We've gone twice already this week. Might go live tomorrow, but I'm traveling to Atlanta, so we'll see. But yeah, you guys can follow me there. And Locked On 49ers. Locked On 49ers is on any streaming platform. We come at you 5 days a week. We're on YouTube as well. We have a really nice audience, man, and we're so thankful for especially the listenership on all the Spotify, the Apple, things like that. Man, like you guys have been awesome. So those are the ways to support.
There you go. My final thought is this, man. Trey Lance, happy birthday. From me to you, I am naming you the starter for the San Francisco 49ers week 1 and going forward. Stay healthy, stay safe, and stay faithful, man. We're going to get up out of here, man. You ready, Crock?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Prepare for glory.
Remain faithful.
Anticipate pain.
Anticipate pain.
But always
remain faithful.
There it is, man. Crock, you got it, man. Try to act like you don't know, man. You got it. We out of here, y'all. Peace.
We all gas, no brakes, pumped up, no fakes. We spinning, we winning, we high stakes. We never miss, we all makes. Look at us dudes trying to prove, bringing you news with nothing to lose. Mike, Nick, Tony, Wayne, Method Man, we bring the pain. Hey, see, I'ma confess it. We under the pressure. If you looking to find us, we them nothing but niners.